Books are magic, and often how they appear in our lives is magic as well. So I wanted to share the greatest bibliosynchronicity that ever happened to me. This is my friend Neil Gordon. We knew each other in New York through the psychedelic scene, and he was a college professor and a writer of great books and a beautiful soul. Even as he was dying from cancer, he would come over to our house filled with couch surfers and just hang out and talk about how lucky he felt to live the fascinating life that he had lived and to connect to the people he had gotten a chance to connect to. And he was ready to die, even though he was young at the height of his creative powers. He was at peace. And so I saw Neil one last time, and then I went out on the road for a book tour. And a couple weeks into that book tour, there were two important calls. One was a call from my then girlfriend saying that we were pregnant, which was not expected. But it was good. It made life much more clear. I didn't quite know where this book tour was going to end, and now I knew where it was going and what I was doing with myself. But it was overwhelming, and I didn't feel ready, like a few of us do. And it was a lot. It was a lot to be taken in. I'm out there by myself with almost nobody to talk to. And then the next day, I get a call that Neil had passed. And, death is just death. I didn't feel bad for him. I felt bad for me not getting to see my friend and all the family and friends he left behind. But I felt him really closely that day. He was a great father and loved his kids. And so I'm there in the middle of Tennessee, and I see a used bookstore. And so I go in, and I'm poking around. And for the first time in my life, I found a book by Neil Gordon in a bookstore. It was this one, The Company You Keep, which is a wonderful book. It's about the Weathermen Underground and what they did in the 60s. It's a beautiful saying of the time. But also, it was him. He was just sitting there talking to me, and it felt amazing to find his book. And there's a line in it, and it felt like he was just there with his smile, looking over my shoulder, and he said, "One day, I promise, you'll be a bad parent too." And it was this advice about don't worry too much, do the best you can, you got it. And it felt like he was just there, let me know from beyond the grave.